a flying start here, season number 2 with you on Game Plan as well, so we appreciate the time, Coach.
Thank you.
We'll have a lot more throughout the course of the season on Texas women's basketball every week. Catch the latest right here on Game Plan with Karen Aston.
It's an overcast day here in Austin and an early start for the women's basketball team. Today they host the Oklahoma Sooners. It's Big 12 basketball. It's Texas and OU, and it's next on Longhorn Network. Well, come on inside, out of the rain, and join us inside the Frank Erwin Center as the Texas women's basketball team takes on longtime rival Oklahoma. Today's matinee will have the soundtrack of thousands of elementary and middle school kids for the annual 40 Acres field trip. Hey everybody, I'm Fran Harris along with my partner Nell Fortner, and today these two teams meet for the 45th time. Nell, they have a lot of similarities. They've got bigs, they like to run, they play defense, but for Oklahoma it starts with their guard, Ellenberg.
Well, it does. The senior guard is their 2-time All-Big 12 Performer of the Year. She likes to shoot a lot of threes, Fran. She's taken more threes than twos. She's on every watch list. Wade, Wooden, Naismith. She makes this team go without a doubt.
And for Texas, they like to come into every game thinking about their advantage, and you got to go on the block for them.
Well, there's no question about that. Nneka Enemkpali and Imani McGee-Stafford. Nneka's leading the team in scoring and rebounding. She has a huge, strong motor, a hard matchup for another team, but putting together a great year. And Imani, she's starting for the second consecutive game. Really a shot blocker, shot changer inside. Makes a huge difference for this Texas team.
Let's check out the Oklahoma Sooners. Morgan Hook, Aaryn Ellenberg is the senior, Cornett, Campbell, Griffin. Who you like in that lineup?
Well, Morgan Hook, the point guard, really does a great job distributing the ball and letting Aaryn Ellenberg score points from the outside.
And Texas, consistency is the key here. They've got the same lineup for 2 games straight.
Well, that's a good thing for Karen Aston. Selena Rodrigo doing a good job at the point guard spot, but that inside presence of Nneka Enemkpali and Imani McGee-Stafford is the best in the Big 12. When those two get going, they're unstoppable.
All right, should be a good one. Both teams are 1-1 in conference play. The third game for both of them right now, and we talked about Texas trying to establish that tempo early. Imani McGee-Stafford, nice article. We'll get into that later in today's paper, but Karen Aston looking for some stability in the lineup and some consistency on defense.
Well, her presence is just it's imposing. You just can't score a lot of points inside. And Oklahoma scores 37 points a game in the paint.
Ellenberg will let that fly, and she will get it. First blood for Oklahoma.
Well, she attempts more threes than twos in her game. She's just sick. Now she's 3 points shy of 2,000 career points at Oklahoma.
Aaryn Ellenberg, the senior from Las Vegas, Nevada. Davenport stops, pops, and can't get it to go down for Texas, but Texas hustling on the offensive boards.
Well, that's where they've got to continue to have good guard rebounding for Texas to get those second shot opportunities.
17 on the shot clock, and Enemkpali and Sanders tried to get a little 2-on-2 action, but Rodrigo nails it for Texas.
Texas does a good job with patient offense, working that on-ball screen and getting it to the open man on the ball reversal.
Oklahoma likes to run a little pick and roll, and Griffin from Ellenberg, nice little play.
Well, that was textbook right there. That was absolutely beautiful. Texas is going to have to do a better job affecting the ball coming off of the on-ball screen.
Texas trying to go inside early to Enemkpali. Oklahoma defending it, comes away with the steal.
You know, Fran, you can already feel the experience from the Oklahoma guards, the confidence that they play this game at. You can see it right away.
10 on the shot clock. Griffin against McGee-Stafford. Campbell goes back in. McGee-Stafford tries to get the block, and it rolls out. But you feel the presence of Imani McGee-Stafford there.
There's no question about that. She is a shot changer.
Nneka Enemkpali's got to be careful right there on offense.
Well, The only way you really can stop Nneka is she stops herself a lot. I'm sure Karen Aston is not pleased with that.
Well, Nneka talked about this with both of us in terms of her intensity and having to control her, not only her emotions, but the level of intensity that she plays with on offense so she doesn't draw those kinds of fouls.
Well, you're exactly right. That high motor is sometimes hard to stop on the offensive end by her.
That's also hard to stop. Cornett knocking down another 3 for OU, and Oklahoma with this high-octane offense. They are up 6 in Big 12 women's basketball here in Austin.
You can't overlook the importance of special teams in a rivalry game.
When they tell me to go hit the ball from 40 yards to win the game, that's what I got to do.
Justin is confident. He's a great kicker.
Justin Tucker from 40 yards out. It's up. The Longhorns win it.
Watch LHN live anytime, anywhere with the Longhorn Network app.
There she is, not only one of the best coaches in the nation, she's got the best hair in the nation, without question, and her team is getting it done right now.
Well, she's done a phenomenal job in her 18 seasons at Oklahoma. 6 Big 12 championships, 4 Big 12 tournament championships, 3 Final Fours. The list goes on and on.
Sherry Cole, head coach of Oklahoma. McGee Stafford decides to take a perimeter shot. Oklahoma's defense on point right now.
Well, it really is. They're doing a job inside, not letting Nneka really work on that block. Very physical.
Ellenberg will take you off the dribble. The stop pop is good. That's a nice stroke.
Well, it's a beautiful stroke and just a nice offensive possession right there. Patience for Oklahoma, and then the nice finish.
You know, you said it, though. There's a different look about the Oklahoma guards. You can see the experience. They wear it well.
That's it. It's experience. They're not intimidated. They're ready to play.
Rodrigo again. Texas tries to battle on the boards, and instead they come away with the foul for Davenport. Do you think Texas looks a little tight right now?
Well, they might. I do. I think that's a good call right there. Just a little bit tight. The pace that Oklahoma's playing with and the exactness of their offense is Texas is taking a little longer to adjust to that.
You're just joining us. Big 12 women's basketball, Texas, Oklahoma. I'm Fran Harris and Nell Fortner with the call. And Oklahoma's offense looks mighty fine right now.
It really does. The execution, the way they set screens, they picked up a moving screen right there. But sometimes you can live with that as a coach as you're trying to get your offense going. But I like the way that they run their offense.
Texas on offense now. The last time they scored was at the 1905 mark. So a bit of a drought for the Horns. Brady Sanders dials it.
Well, it couldn't have come at a better time for the Longhorns. They need that just for their confidence to get past this 16-minute media timeout right now. Just to know you can score against this defense.
So a little travel call.
Well, it's excellent help by Selena Rodrigo to get in there and create, shut that pass, the driving lane down and create the turnover.
Oklahoma in a man-to-man defense, leaving Texas's inside game wide open. Imani McGee Stafford gets it, the lucky bounce.
The nice touch on the finish right there by Imani, and that'll help her confidence as she goes forward.
Hook in and out. Texas with an opportunity in transition. A 3-on-1 pass over to Davenport is good. And an opportunity to go to the free throw line for some insult to injury.
Well, that's what Texas wants to do, is they want to run in transition.
But
I
it's
guess
worth
so.
it.
I had to walk in the rain a little bit.
Exactly. Glad to have the kids on board for the 40 Acres field trip. That's a great basketball game.
Well, Fran, not just the kids will keep us away. Both teams are shooting over 50%. The game is at being run at a very high pace.
Texas on a 6-0 run before that timeout. Tie up on the floor, gives it back to Texas. fresh shot clock, of course, as Brady Sanders runs the show for the Horns.
You know, the battle inside. Amani is open. She's got Griffin behind her, and they've got to send that ball inside just like that. She has the ability to shoot over 6'6". Texas has got to be aware of that.
McGee Stafford has been working on her turn and shoot. And got that one to go down. 6'7" is a tough guard from behind. Little high-low action. And Impali is battling inside, gets her third rebound in the tough presence of Griffin. Forces an air ball.
It was a really tough way to try to get buckets. Maybe the ball needed to come out and come back into her. Amani's such a hard, Nneka is such a hard worker in there. She just stays at it.
So we are tied at 10. In Big 12 basketball as Rodrigo splits the defense. Got another tie-up, and it will be Oklahoma basketball with the possession arrow.
You're right there, Selena, trying to come off that on-ball screen. They've had success with it this season, just got a little bit too deep in there. Oklahoma does a good job of closing down any kind of driving lane.
You look at these two teams on paper, you look at the first 5 minutes of the game, you think these two teams are fairly evenly matched?
Well, I do, absolutely, and they are pretty much in the stat department on a stat sheet.
18 on the shot clock. We know that Oklahoma can take that three, and they can also take you off the drive. McGee Stafford, a little tired defense from behind. Let's see what Kayla Hartung has for us.
Fran, a frustrated Karen Aston on the sidelines telling the ref very forcefully they're fouling the heck out of her as she pointed to Nneka Impali.
All right, Kaylee, thank you for PGing that up for us. Coach Karen Aston was pretty upset.
Well, we've seen the officiating get a little bit more lax as we've come into conference play. It was very tight to begin the season, and now it's kind of settled down, and they're letting them get back to a little bit more physical play.
So a couple of rule changes that we'll have the opportunity to talk about. One of those implementations has been cleaning up the physical play inside, also protecting the shooter, like Ellenberg, who is a little cold now for Oklahoma.
Well, but she's not going to stay cold, Franz, and Texas has to be careful not to let her come freely off those on-ball screens.
Or stop shooting. We've seen this player for 4 years, and she is an electric shooter. Davenport with a floater.
A beautiful finish by Empress Davenport right there with that floater shot inside.
Nice move to the hole by Ellenberg with the left.
You know, that's what I love about Big 12 play. When you get into conference plays, teams just keep going at each other. Empress scored. OU took them 3 seconds to score on the other end.
It's coming right back at you. Maggio Nite in the game to shoot for Texas. It will remain Texas basketball. You look at where Ellenberg is now in her career.
Well, there she goes over that 2,000 career points. That's a lot of points, Fran. You know, she's not a very big player. She's about 5'7" and weighs about 45 pounds. Well, maybe a little bit more than that. But she's a very slight player, but gets off her feet very quick, can create her shot. And again, this Oklahoma team pretty much goes as she goes.
Texas cleaning up the boards. Into the ball game for Rodrigo is Crystal Henderson, junior college player, won a national championship last year. Nneka Impali and Imani McGee Stafford take a break, and Empress Davenport with the push-off. Can't be that overt with that, Davenport.
Well, she took her left elbow right here and trying to clear out a little room right there. And you just can't do it. You just have to get around that, turn that corner a little quicker without the elbow.
Davenport now with 2 fouls for Texas. She'll take a seat. Breonna Taylor, the freshman from Houston, comes in the game. And almost a whole new crew for Texas as Ellenberg does what she does best.
Just has such a good feel for the game. I mean, chose not to use the screen and could just stop and pop so easily.
Ellenberg now with 10 points off of some pretty hot shooting.
You know, it's pretty hard going behind that screen. You're going to have to go on top of that screen to affect her a little more.
Texas with 15 on the shot clock. Henderson with a little drive and kick. And the freshman from the Woodlands gets that lucky bounce, does Kelsey Lang.
You know, one thing about Texas and the opportunity to give Kelsey Lang a lot of playing time is now she's experienced and ready to play in Big 12 play, has some confidence.
Kelsey Lang, of course, beat out Imani McGee-Stafford from that starting spot after the Virgin Islands tournament, playing some good basketball for Texas.
Well, how about you start 6'7" and then you come 6'5" off the bench? But she's a smart player, has that high basketball IQ, and it doesn't hurt coming in the game and knocking down that first shot.
And Karen Aston says has one of the purest shots on this team, may be their best shooter. Of course, we got to talk about Chas Fussell being out for Texas with the bruised knee.
Well, and that's been a lot of ground for Texas to have to make up. Her scoring and rebounding.
Brady Sanders knocks it down. Nell, the last game we saw Brady Sanders was doing a lot of shot faking and dribbling the ball she's shooting today.
Well, and that was the perfect time to take that shot. It didn't need a shot fake, and that she was in good shooting rhythm.
Texas now with a 1-point lead. As Ellenberg, man, she is quick. So we got us a ball game, folks, here. Oklahoma with this high-octane offense, but Texas finding their shooters in rhythm. They lead by 1 in Austin.
The stadium is unbelievable. I can't believe I actually got to walk on the Star. It's crazy. You know, you always grow up wanting to be a cowboy, but that's as close as I'll ever be, I guess.
A woman and her truck. A woman, her truck, and a 1,200-pound passenger. And 2 bodies with 1 mind. And a ribbon that goes on her wall, not in her hair. The all-new Chevy Silverado, with the best available towing in its class. Strong for all the roads ahead.
Who will you bring with you to the next UT game? Why not take the whole family? Richard Summer April Winter Weekend, Richard number 2, the Steve, Winks, and Lil Billy. Or how about your nephew's youth team? Marty, Flip, Stretch, Todd O, Smile and Sam, Beans, the Kins, and Coach. And for the game after that, why not your office? Harry Specs, McManus B, number 1, Bill the Temp.
Actually, it's Bob.
Grumpy Greg, Pep, and Enzo. Oh, maybe not Enzo, he's not a UT fan.
Back at the Frank Erwin Center, Texas up by 1 over Oklahoma. And I guarantee you it's not because Aaryn Ellenberg hasn't been doing her thing.
Well, she's a human highlight reel right now. We're not even to the 10-minute mark in the first half. She's got every shot in the book. Pull-up jumper from the 3. Look at the swing through and the nice stop and pop. She can come off of transition, take you to the hole, and finish. And remember, she's only 5'7" and slight build. A nice, strong pull-up jumpers. Just playing with a lot of confidence right now, Fran, but that's what a 2-time All-Big 12 performer does.
Ellenberg averages 16 points. Nell, she has 10 with just about 9 minutes gone in the game. That's kind of scary if you're Texas.
Well, it's very obvious why she's on every list her senior year.
Hook for a long 3 off of the inbound play. And here's where Crystal Henderson gives Texas a different dimension. She can push the basketball up the court in 2 to 3 seconds.
Well, you're exactly right, and that's important because Texas likes to run in transition when they can. She has a good feel for that.
Young team on the floor for Texas, 3 freshmen right now.
Well, Nakia Jones comes in and kind of gives them another scoring threat from that 3-point spot.
Great look from Henderson as the shot clock is winding down to 3 seconds. Now, Coach, you've coached in a lot of situations. 3 freshmen on the floor?
Well, that makes you a little nervous. You know, that can be a little nerve-wracking, but right now they're getting some good rest for Imani, for Nneka to come back on the floor. But you see Texas also still trying to pound the ball inside, even though Nneka and Imani aren't in the game. They like to go play inside out. and they're still able to do that. Gigi Mazzianite draws the foul and gets herself to the free throw line.
Coach Karen Aston giving her youngsters some valuable Big 12 playing time right now as Texas goes up by 3. 10:50 remaining in this ball game. Now Texas with a very tough defender on Ellenberg and Brianna Sanders.
Well, that's what Taylor does. She comes in and really gives you that speed and quickness on the defensive end.
Crystal Henderson explodes and also does what she does on occasion for Texas in the open court. Pick and roll doesn't work, but Oklahoma retains possession.
You know, Texas has to be careful with the turnover. Sometimes they can get a little turnover happy, and you don't want to squash your momentum by pushing the ball and trying to force things offensively.
Ellenberg off of a screen with a tough defender, but the senior roll.
She plays with so much confidence, Fran. She just has a knack for knowing when to score and how to find her shots.
Brianna Sanders getting out of traffic, Nneka and Polly back in the game and finds a freshman for 2.
Beautiful play by Nneka and Polly, looking to be that assist person because she's going to get drop down help.
Texas maintaining this 3-point lead. Breonna Taylor, tough defender on Ellenberg. And now the jumper is off for Cornett, but Oklahoma basketball again. 13 on the shot clock.
Now right here you see Nneka, right? Good presence of mind. Oklahoma defense drops in. Kelsey Lang wide open on the backside. Great pass by Nneka and Polly.
So fresh shot clock now for Oklahoma. And Texas almost had a foul on that possession. Big rebound for Texas that they don't get to keep. Nneka and Polly going for the board. Instead comes away with the foul. And we see some of that fire from Nneka right now as she will probably take a seat for Texas.
Well, it's a really tough call. They were both battling for the ball. They must have got tangled up and Nneka gets the call, and sometimes that happens. You have to be careful when you've got that one foul so you can keep yourself on the floor. And that's where I think Nneka struggles because she does have that high motor.
Dribble penetration for Oklahoma. They go in and out as well and hook for the 3. And Texas with a tough box out. And here they come in transition. Chris Henderson not paying attention at all. And then Texas not getting back on defense. That's got to make Karen Aston furious.
Well, right, there's no excuse for that. Your teammates chasing the ball down, you have got to chase it also. In Texas, there really is no excuse for that. That's a hustle play.
Texas still going inside. Lang can't get the handle over to Jones. And here's where the possessions become more valuable, Nell.
Well, every possession matters, and against Ellenberg, you cannot be flippant with the basketball. But right here, no hustle by the Longhorns getting back to help. Ball gets stolen, and the hustle play by Ellenberg to come back and get that rebound and score. Texas a little rattled, a little shaken right now by the pressure of this Oklahoma defense.
You see the inexperience of Texas on that possession as well. Oklahoma team that can get back in the game very easily, very quickly. .12 on the shot clock. Carter for a long ball. All white jerseys underneath.
Well, that's a shot we'll probably see Texas let Carter take until she knocks one down, similar to what Iowa State did to her in their last Big 12 game.
Carter, the freshman, had some trouble with the way Iowa State was playing and they were sagging off of her. She's more of a creator, likes a tough defense. Well, the defense for Oklahoma has put Texas on lock. They are keeping it close here in Austin. Texas up by 1.
Exciting games.
Doesn't matter what the sport is, doesn't matter where the battle takes place, it's always a spirited competition. And it continues here today for the 45th time between these two women's basketball teams. Texas happens to be up by 1 right now with 7:43 remaining, but Oklahoma is a battle-tested team.
You know, they don't go to Griffin a whole lot inside, but she's a very high percentage shooter when she gets the ball down low. She's a tough player to guard with that 6'6" frame.
Well, you think about Ellenberg and Griffin, if they ever get going together.
You know, the turnovers are starting to pile up for Texas. That's number 10 for them. They've really got to get their composure back on the offensive end and get shots up. Give yourself a chance even to make it or get the offensive board and extra possessions.
Let's go down to Kaylee Harton.
Fran, those mistakes in mind, Aston really trying to calm her team down during that last timeout, saying we're making mistakes we shouldn't be. Make the simple plays that you've got to make.
It is about simplicity, isn't it, Nell?
Well, it is. And right now, Aaryn Ellenberg is making it look real simple for Oklahoma with her offensive game.
Ellenberg's got 16 of Oklahoma's 23 points. And Imani McGee-Stafford with her second bucket.
You know, she makes it look very simple, Imani does. When that ball goes inside, simple turnaround jump shot. It's very hard to defend for any post player.
Cheated McGee-Stafford out of her bucket. She's got 3 on the evening afternoon. She's got 6 points. And here's where she can become a big force for Texas.
That's right. Offensive rebounding and then the turnaround putback. Those are those simple points. Those are those extra possessions that give you the opportunity to put points on the board.
Edwards in the ball game for Hook on the Oklahoma Sooner side.
You know, Morgan Hook has not connected yet on a three-pointer. She shoots 37% from the 3, but hadn't connected today for the Sooners.
I'm beating up my partner here on the sideline with the intensity of this game. Texas now with the 12 seconds left on the shot clock.
Nakia back in for Gigi Mazianite, trying to give them a little more at that outside presence. Maybe, you know, Nakia can really heat it up from the three-point line.
6 seconds on the shot clock. McGee-Stafford steps out. And now Texas just does not look in sync offensively.
Well, they don't. I think they're a little rattled right now. There's no offensive flow, and keeping it simple is something that they can do with Imani in the game, sending that ball inside.
Imani McGee-Stafford with the second personal. What do you think of the matchup between Griffin and McGee-Stafford?
Well, right now I think it's kind of a wash. I think they're both getting the best of each other, but it's sending Griffin to the line, and that's not a good thing. Imani picks up her second foul, and you got NECA with 2 fouls, so that kind of straps Texas with their big inside presence.
Well, the women's basketball team is back on the court next Wednesday, January 15th, to face Big 12 rival Kansas. Texas women's basketball, Kansas versus Texas, January 15th at 7 only on Longhorn Network. And of course, you can watch live online and now on your mobile phone with the Longhorn Network app, available in the Apple App Store.
Well, the matchups with the guards right now, you've got Henderson and Rodrigo in for Texas going against the 2 small guards for Oklahoma. We should see some good defense being played at this point. Oklahoma dropping back into their 2-3 zone.
Skip pass to Rodrigo, and Texas is shut down on the inside so far. Crystal Henderson with the pull-up and the roll.
You know, you get those rolls at home, Fran.
Not on the road. Texas now down by 1, 5:08 remaining in the first half. And the offense for Oklahoma continues.
Well, that's one of those really unfortunate calls. You have Nakia Jones on the ground having no clue as to where the shooter is, but when your body is there, it's an automatic call, even though you didn't reach or do anything. It's just one of those wrong place at the wrong time.
at the line for Oklahoma is Campbell, a 5'10" junior from Spencer, Oklahoma. Shoots 86% from the free throw line. An opportunity to put OU up even more, and she gets the first one.
Last season in Austin, Sherrain Campbell was 3 for 3 from the three-point line. That's not her particular game, but really led this Oklahoma team out of the halftime locker room on a 14-0 run to put the game away.
And I remember that game. Oklahoma shot something like 70% in the first half from three-point line.
They were 11 for 17 from the three.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, it was an assault. Unbelievable shooting last season here in Austin.
You see this 1-3-1 half court, little press by Oklahoma. They like to mix it up after free throws.
Well, that's a shot they're giving Texas. Ellenberg always calling for the basketball. That was inside the three-point line.
Texas ball.
Almost ran that one down by Tiana Edwards. Oh, you're going to get back again into this 1-3-1. And you know, sometimes when you see these different zones coming at you, players have to adjust. They have to think too much, you know, about where am I going to score, what offense are we running. It can really create havoc on an offensive team, also a young team.
Well, Texas is facing this 2-3 zone, is what Oklahoma was playing, and giving them only that outside shot. How much has that affected them?
Well, I think it is. Well, you know, sometimes when you're wide open, you're too wide open. You know? But this is too many turnovers for Texas. You know, you've got to keep it simple, slow it down, and reverse. Get the ball, get it reversed. Make that 1-3-1 zone work. Make that back person really work those corners.
11 turnovers now for Texas. Karen Aston staying with the same lineup. And the step through, Lang is going to come away with the foul.
Well, it's a nice move by Campbell right there, but it's a tough move defensively. You've got to keep your feet moving or else hold your ground. You cannot lean and reach. You know, sometimes, you know, as a freshman, Kelsey Lang, you just got to keep experiencing with how to guard players' certain moves, and that's a tough move. That step-through move is a tough move to guard.
Oklahoma extends this lead to 4 and to 5. And Texas looking to figure it out on offense with 2 freshmen and a sophomore and a senior and a junior in the lineup.
Well, again, the 1-3-1, Oklahoma staying with it out of those free throws.
And there's another opportunity where Texas had to keep it simple. Texas with a rare transition opportunity. Sanders does not see who's behind her, and luckily gets the block.
Well, she did. I thought it was going to be the travel right there, but Texas got to figure out how to break that 1-3-1 zone that OU's putting on them.
A lucky call on the last play now. Fresh clock. What do they have to do on offense to get this thing going?
They need to score. You know, they need to score.
Simple as that. You got to score on this inbounds play. Well, they get fouled. Oklahoma leading by 5 with 2 of Texas's best players on the bench.
Well, that's right. Imani and both NECA with those 2 fouls saddled to the bench right there. But that's what happens. You know, NECA, that's where you have to really grow as a player and know, I've got 1 foul. I cannot get another foul. I've got to stay in the ball game. And that's just an area of growing up and continuing to grow your game.
Gigi Maggio-Nite with some key buckets as those 2 superstars sit on the bench. 3:30 remaining in the first half. Talking about some experience they're getting.
Well, you look at Oklahoma, they've got all their starters on the floor. So they're going against Texas, several non-starters, and that's a disadvantage.
So Texas will be shooting a 1-and-1 situation right now. Rodrigo with a nice strip on defense.
You know, Rodrigo has a tendency to make those hustle plays like that.
Yes.
Gets a hand in, creates some turnovers, and she's got to continue to do more of that, to be that active point guard on the defensive end, not just the offensive end, because it all starts from the point guard defensively, that energy.
Rodrigo misses the opportunity there to cut this lead for Texas. OU leading by 3. Ellenberg already with her average today for Oklahoma with 16. Brady Sanders off of Carter. She penetrates that zone. And then the pull-up by Hook.
Hook just really having a hard time getting on track today for Oklahoma. Only 4 players for Oklahoma have scored up to this point, 7 for Texas. So you see where Oklahoma's struggling a little bit on that offensive end, except for Ellenberg.
Long range. They let her have that one, but Oklahoma battling on the boards. So Rodrigo in the game with Henderson now on the wing. Rodrigo will run the show for Texas.
This is Oklahoma dropping back into that man defense right here. Kind of confusing Texas, maybe expecting that 1-3-1.
Brady Sanders just airball, nobody on Ellenberg. She's feeling it.
Well, if you only guard one player on the floor, it's got to be Ellenberg. She's got the majority of their points today. You've got to know where she is at all times.
Ellenberg now with 18 of OU's 31 points, and somehow Texas has not found her on defense.
Well, you can see where this Oklahoma defense is really confusing Texas because they're going back and forth, man, zone, 1-3-1.
Rebound by Magionite, and then the junior just tosses it up and prays that it goes in, but it is Texas basketball.
Well, it's a good job of getting the rebound by Crystal Henderson, but you got to think about where you are. She's in the land of the Giants down there. Get that ball back out and use a little bit of that clock. Don't give Oklahoma extra time to score points.
That's exactly what her coach just told her when she ran by. She says, let's bring that back out. Possession. 146, OU with a 5-point lead in Big 12 women's basketball. Fran Harris and Nell Fortner with you for the call. Bad angle by Sanders. And another turnover for Texas. The stop and pop is good.
Well, I don't think I've seen a player this season offensively have the game that Aaryn Ellenberg's having right now, and she's just putting on a show from every angle.
Ellenberg now with 19 points for Oklahoma, 21 points for Oklahoma, and then the jumper is off, but Texas trying to battle down low.
Well, without NECA and Imani being on the floor, that really hurts Texas's rebounding, offensive rebounding. So right now, Oklahoma being able to take advantage of that. So that's where Texas has to be really selective in their offense.
Ellenberg continuing to create offensively for Oklahoma, and Texas feels a little disconnected out there on the floor.
Well, you've just got a different lineup on the floor. Players not used to spending a lot of time playing together, so it can create some problems.
This lead climbs for Oklahoma, 35-26. Ellenberg, a great free throw shooter at 81%.
This possession is important for Texas, for confidence going into the half. You know, just be able to know that you can score with this lineup on the floor, going against this defense.
Ellenberg, tight defense, gets called for the foul. Texas was down to 10 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, it really bails them out because there wasn't a whole lot going on offensively for Texas right there, but at least they got themselves to the line. They have an opportunity to score 2 points and cut into this lead a little bit going into half.
Selena Rodrigo, only a 50% free throw shooter. We saw her the last time at the line. She missed the front end of the 1-and-1. Misses this one as well. but the freshman cleans it up. And now Texas with a fresh shot clock and about 25 minutes left in the half. The drive and kick for Sanders. No go, but then a good hustle, and then 10 seconds and a fresh opportunity for Texas. Selena Rodrigo can't get it to go, and it's going to be a turnover. Oklahoma basketball. Offensively, Texas completely out of sync here.
She had, 10 seconds is plenty of time to, to set something up and run an offense. And just right now, we're looking at a little bit of just an experience in that regard. And that is unbelievable. Morgan Hook scores at the buzzer, her only basket, as she struggled all half to score. This is the basket she gets going into halftime. Fran, I've always said that should count 4 points, but it still only counts 3.
It's been that kind of afternoon for Oklahoma. Ellenberg started off heating it up for the Sooners, and then the other players got into action. Texas trails Oklahoma by 12 in Big 12 action, and the Oklahoma Sooners came into the Erwin Center. They have been shooting lights out. They're led by their All-American candidate, Aaryn Ellenberg, and she has really put it on Texas. The bright spot for Texas, though, has been Imani McGee-Stafford.
Well, definitely. Just Imani starting gives Texas such a great presence inside to go along with Nneka and Impali, but the 2 fouls puts her on the bench. That's a tough place to be when you're 6'7". You want to be on the floor going up against Oklahoma's 6'6" Griffin. And Imani, when she's on the floor, she's so effective. She just has to keep herself out of foul trouble.
On the other side of the ball, the senior from Las Vegas, Nevada, is taking some gambles, and they're paying off.
The best offensive player I've personally seen this year, Aaryn Ellenberg, and she's done it from all over the floor. Pull-up threes, pull-up jumpers, comes off on-ball screens, takes it to the hole. She has a vast array of weapons in her tool belt, and she's very hard to stop. That's one thing Texas has to be talking about right now, is how do we stop Aaryn Ellenberg?
She gave it to Texas in multiple ways. How do you want it? I can do it. And just really led her team. She doesn't do it verbally, but she goes out there and does it for them. But Oklahoma's getting it done in other areas.
Well, they are. Field goal percentage, both teams started out so hot, they kind of cooled off a little bit. But Texas, no three-point shots. They're right now, going into this game, they were shooting like 13% from the three. That's going to even go down now. But obviously, Oklahoma's stepping up in that department right there. But rebounding, Texas is staying, controlling the boards. They're just not getting that offensive output.
Texas down by 12. Their All-American candidate, Nneka and Impali, has 0 points. Coach Karen Axton trying to get that fixed before their team comes back to the floor.
Ball's hit the right. It's carrying, and that ball's out of here with the solo home run. Oh, come on! Head up, throw down! Tucker's kick is up. Justin's kick is good! It's good!
Game Plan with Rick Barnes provides an inside look at the Texas playbook.
It's all 5 guys understanding the importance of every possession.
Go one-on-one with Coach as he breaks down the Horns' offensive and defensive schemes.
Somebody's got to step up and make some plays for you.
And reveals the scouting report for their upcoming opponents.
When the shot goes up, that's when the game really starts. It's going to be a lot of individual battles right there.
Game Plan with Rick Barnes, Friday at 7 on Longhorn Network.
He grew up on a ranch, dreaming of becoming a real cowboy. His UT degree led to a 40-year career reporting on farming and ranching, where he heard a wealth of stories that he turned into Western novels. He wrote nearly 50 in all and became one of the most treasured Texas writers of our time.
History is important to me, and I like for it to become important to other people, and if I can help spur that interest through my fiction, well, I feel that I've accomplished something.
Elmer Kelton, he's a Longhorn legend.
everything we do is designed to get us ready for conference play.
How about the freshman? Clutch when the Longhorns need it. Up ahead to Cameron Ridley for the dunk. He's a big man, but he can run the floor.
Up against Holmes, who swats it away. Riley swats it again. And drills another one.
Oklahoma leads Texas 38-26 at half, and now Kaylee is with the coach for Oklahoma, Sherry Cole.
Coach, how do you describe how Aaryn Ellenberg was able to be so effective in that first half?
Well, she looked like herself again today. I thought the thing that she did that was so important was she played hard enough to create her own success, and then that ignites everybody else.
With Texas's stars and Imani McGee-Stafford and Nneka and Impali on the bench due to foul trouble, how were you able to take advantage of that?
That was very beneficial. I thought our bigs did a really good job of going at them and trying to get them in foul trouble. They're both very aggressive post players. They're going to try to block shots. They're going to try to make aggressive plays. So I thought we did a good job of following the game plan. But what we have to be wary of is those guys will be back in the second half, and they'll be hungry and ready to go.
Thank you, Coach.
I love what Sherry Cole said, is that was very beneficial.
Yeah, she was honest.
That was the game plan, no question about that. You watch Texas tape, you watch them play against other teams, you know that they have an imposing inside game.
Well, they do, and those two on the floor together for more minutes in the game, that is a hard guard right there. Imani, they can get the high-low going, they can just get pounded inside going, but also the offensive rebounds, the extra possessions they provide.
Texas with 24 rebounds to OU's 12, but not a lot of rebounds for OU. They were shooting really well at the first part of that first half.
Well, and the other thing, Fran, Texas has to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. It led to 22 points off a turnover. I mean, 22 points for Oklahoma off the Texas turnover. So that's an area they've got to be able to attack this zone defense better than they did the first half.
So Texas will go with its original starting five. Got to keep in mind that not only did McGee-Stafford and Impali have 2 fouls, but so did Texas' top defensive stopper, Empress Davenport, was on the bench for a while.
Well, that made a big difference, too, because she brings a lot of energy to the perimeter defense. And anytime you get that many starters out of your lineup, it's not a good thing.
So Davenport on Ellenberg, and immediately we've got a tie-up. It will be Texas basketball. So Coach always says, no, the first 5 minutes of the second half are really important.
Well, it is, and that's a good sign for Texas right there. Their energy on the defensive end creates a jump ball, and they have possession.
So we will see if Ellenberg cools off per your prediction. Potentially a cool-off by the senior. 12 on the shot clock for Texas.
A little bit tough shot right there for Nneka going against, again, Oklahoma doing a good job dropping down defenders, not giving Nneka one-on-one.
Davenport trying to find Ellenberg and misses that first one, but here comes Oklahoma again with the offensive board.
Well, if you're Texas, you have to feel good about Ellenberg at least missing her first shot heading into the second half, because she didn't miss many in the first half.
Empress Davenport looks like she's in a full-on frontal of Ellenberg right now.
Well, and I think that's a great game plan. You have to keep the ball out of Ellenberg's hands, because if it's in her hands, she was 9 for 14 in the first half. She's going to keep shooting the ball.
You know what happens if she gets the ball. Empress face guarding Ellenberg on the defensive end. They are doubling and Impali. The swing over to Rodrigo, inside to Imani McGee-Stafford off the glass.
Beautiful ball movement by Texas. Great offensive patience right there and presence to know where the Oklahoma defense was.
This lead now to 10. Nneka and Impali could have probably had that ball as it was going in the air, and they charge called against Oklahoma. Here's what you talked about Texas needing to do in the first half now.
We get the inside out by NECA to start the play right there, ball reversal, and then hammer it inside to Imani, and the good finish by Imani. Good offensive execution.
Stafford with one-on-one coverage, now two coverage. Brady Sanders waited too long to get her the basketball.
Well, and this is where the Texas post players are going to have to really be aware of OU defenders dropping in from the backside to come in and double team that block.
The nice hook, the nice take to the hole by Hook is rejected by Ellenberg.
I like the aggressiveness by NECA right here. I know she has 2 fouls, but she's not going to stop playing aggressively. Just you got to be smart with where you go approach that block shot.
Ellenberg with another stop and pop and a rebound by Texas. An opportunity to cut this lead. A 3-on-1. Little roll to McGee-Stafford, and she gets the roll. And a little emotion from Imani McGee-Stafford.
I like the emotion. I'm not sure I've seen that this season. I like her getting fired up like that, but good job by Texas pushing the tempo of the game right here and the strong finish. You know, Fran, that's Ellenberg's second missed shot. Sometimes halftime is a great defender, you know, to cool a shooter off.
Ellenberg 0 in the second half with 2.5 minutes of play, so credit the defense, credit halftime. Texas has cut this lead to 8.
With good defense. They're really hunkering down here on this end of the floor.
Texas stopping the defense right there, stopping the offense right there. Penetration by Hook, 12 on the shot clock. And expect Ellenberg to create here off the dribble. The long ball is an air ball, and here comes Texas.
You know, that's just a point in time in the game where Empress has to really think about that play and not let it happen again. You know, just going a little bit too fast, a little bit out of control, because that was a tremendous defensive stop by Texas on the other end. They're really playing some nice defense right now, and you've got to reward your team by coming down and getting good shots on the offensive end.
Empress Davenport takes a seat after a little smack back to her coach, talking back, and Karen Aston admonishing this team to stay focused.
Texas foul charge number 34.
You know, Imani got a little aggressive on that shot contest right there. You know, at 6'7", she can most times just go stand still, go straight up with her hands straight in the air, not have to reach, try to block. But she draws the foul right there and puts Griffin on the line.
Imani McGee-Stafford will take a seat as freshman Kelsey Lane comes in.
You know, you knew Texas was going to come out and have some adjustments and play better defense, and they're doing exactly that. Now the key is to maintain it, to be able to keep that focus and affect Ellenberg, which they'd have.
Griffin knocks down both for Oklahoma. Brady Sanders with too hard of a shot there. And it's been a tough afternoon for Sanders.
It has. It's been a tough afternoon for Texas from the three-point line.
Carter off the roll. Texas with the steal. And now another opportunity. And Polly tries to split the defense. We're lucky over there for Bree. Taylor gets a rebound but can't put it back for Texas. They are battling on the boards, but Oklahoma coming away with this one.
Well, Texas doing a great job of giving themselves extra possessions, but you got to get up there and finish those shots.
Ellenberg being guarded by Breonna Taylor. Takes her off the dribble. It's a nifty move to the hole off the glass.
Well, just a beautiful finish by Ellenberg. She's just got lots of shots.
Well, the Texas offense puts the pressure on Ellenberg, but she is just too hot to handle this afternoon. A little up and under, giving Oklahoma the 12-point lead in Austin. Oklahoma with the 12-point lead in Austin in Big 12 play. And Impali off the...
Nice execution by Texas on the inbounds play. They spent a lot of time on those underneath out of bounds plays, and that was really nice execution.
And Impali with her first bucket on the afternoon for Texas. Empress Davenport with the oop and the opportunity to go to the free throw line.
What a beautiful finish by Empress. She gets in there and she gets her head taken off right here.
Floater.
Griffin just trips into her, and I don't think she meant to hit her. She just kind of tripped over her feet, but puts Empress to the line for the and one. And those are the kind of plays that a team needs to try to, get that energy back, get you back into the game.
Davenport completes the three-point play. Texas down 7 against the Sooners. And Davenport keeping a close eye on Ellenberg, who's got 24, by the way, if you're counting. Ellenberg to the hole. Man, she is just so quick off the dribble.
She really is. She just needs a little bit of space to get past her defender, and that's what she did, and drew the foul on Breonna Taylor. But Texas doing all they can to keep the ball out of her hands, keep a body on her at all times.
Texas played that inbound play pretty well on the last sequence, and Karen Aston was happy about that. They worked on that as well in practice.
Well, you can't get all the points back all at once, and you just have to have those little victories as you're going along in the second half. And right there, that's one of them. And that comes straight from a scouting report on how to guard that inbounds play, creating the turnover.
Defensively, Oklahoma continuing to do what they did in the first half.
They are. They're mixing their defenses up. Now they're back in a 2-3 zone right now, making Selena Rodrigo really think about what kind of offense she needs to put her team in.
Ball movement by Texas. Rodrigo finds it.
Excellent ball movement by Texas, and that's what you've got to do against that zone. You've got to get that ball reversed. Shooter waiting in a gap.
Beautiful pass. That is a beautiful pass. The senior to the junior, Campbell for the bucket.
Ball goes inside, goes backside against that zone, and Rodrigo steps up and knocks down the shot. But this is where Texas needs to work harder. Don't go down and foul on the other end. You've got to be able to create some momentum for yourself.
Breonna Taylor will take a seat. Brady Sanders back in the game. Imani McGee-Stafford on the bench with 3 fouls for Texas, but Nneka and Impali, keeping her composure, is still in the lineup for the Horns. So it's 1-3-1, and Impali splits the defense, and the rebound by the freshman who can't get off the floor to finish that for Texas. And Impali takes it away. Here comes Texas.
One of those rare kind of unforced turnovers by Oklahoma right there to give the ball back to Texas.
Davenport tries to go to Nneka and Impali. 11 on the shot clock. Nobody else moving for Texas here as Rodrigo tries to create. Davenport can't get it to go for Texas.
Texas still 0 in that three-point department, Fran. That's 0 for 10.
Ellenberg trying to create down there. Texas with some good defense.
Well, she is, but again, that's another, and I want to call them unforced turnovers because Oklahoma's trying to push it in there when there's just nothing there. And so it's to Texas's benefit right here. Come down and run some good offense and start cutting into this lead.
Oklahoma up by 8. Texas trying to pull back in. Come on back. Are they crimson? Is that what I want to make sure I get the color right on Oklahoma.
I think you're right on that.
Yeah. OU and Texas, it's always a battle. into the game for Texas as Henderson immediately turns the basketball over. And Oklahoma with an opportunity to extend this 8-point lead.
Well, that's really one of those cardinal sins. You can't come out of a timeout with the ball and turn it over on your first pass. And Oklahoma giving it right back to Texas. That's their 8th turnover this half.
Monty McGee-Stafford looking to come back in for Texas. Nneka Enemkpali with only 2 points for the Horns. Stays in the ball game inside to the freshman who can't handle it, but gets the roll anyway.
Well, that's where your size, 6'5", makes a big difference whether you jump or not. When you're right under the basket, you have a good shot of hitting that bucket.
Talk about a player who can create off the dribble. But before that happens, Lang here, 6'5", over the defense. Easy work for Kelsey Lang.
Well, and this is where you just want to pound that ball inside because she has advantage in height. And the lower she can get that position on the block, the better for her.
Oklahoma with a 6-point lead. Ellenberg relatively quiet in the second half, only has 2 points in the second half. And Monty McGee-Stafford says, get that out of here.
Well, that's where Imani is so effective. She just gets the ball, just really high hands, and goes for the ball, not for the arms.
Well, on that mix-up, that play there, Nneka Enemkpali comes away kind of limping. And she's going to come out of the game for Texas.
Well, you surely hope she's just going to walk over there and walk it off, and we'll see her back in this game.
Oklahoma with a 6-point lead. The 5 on the floor for Texas, Majionite, Davenport, McGee, Stafford, Sanders, and Henderson. And the game is getting physical.
Well, it is much different from the way they called the game in November than the way they're calling it in January.
Well, they are making Imani McGee-Stafford work down low. Inside, the dribble. They're smothering the inside game for Texas.
Well, they are, and that's one way that you have to guard Imani is you have to get physical with her as much as they'll let you and try to keep the ball out of her hands.
Texas now charge number 4.
Oklahoma with a 6-point lead. Nneka Enemkpali will give you a report when we come back. But the big news on campus this week has been the hiring of the new football coach. Mr. Charlie Strong is in the house. And we've had the opportunity to kind of take a look at what he's going to be doing on the 40 acres. But before we do that, let's talk about Nneka Enemkpali. She is headed to the training room.
Well, that's a tough loss for Texas right there. But hopefully they're just going to go in there and check her out. And she'll be back here to play. We're just not sure what it is yet.
Just a little mix-up on the court. She did walk off the court with her own power. And then athletic trainer Lisa Stallings will take a look to see what's going on, and we'll give you a report as soon as we have one. Davenport stops, pops, got it.
Well, really nice. Texas has come out with this 1-4 high offense this half and trying to create a little different action on the offensive end, and it works nicely for Empress Davenport.
They are down 4. Bad screen for Oklahoma. Texas now with an opportunity to cut this to at least 2 points.
Well, right there, Williams from Oklahoma gets a little too physical on Imani McGee-Stafford inside and draws the offensive foul.
Oklahoma did that 2-3 zone. It's really going to force Texas to see if they have an outside game. McGee-Stafford tries to get it to go down, and the swarming hands of Oklahoma stop that action. Cornett to the hole.
Cornett does a good job of drawing the foul off of Texas, really leaned into the defender right there. And on the other end, you got to give Oklahoma credit for in that 2-3 zone, really swarming the block. Post players got to have a lot of presence right there just to turn and shoot it, not try to make the move because you're double and triple team down there.
Cornett misses. She is 1 of 5 on the afternoon. Had not taken a free throw for the Sooners. 10:49 remaining in the game. Now, what can Texas do on the offensive end besides the post players making a quicker decision against this 2-3 zone?
Well, I think what they're doing is really nice. I mean, the ball reversal, you've got to reverse the ball and get it into gaps on the backside. Look for some open shots. That was a really nice play right there, getting it into Oklahoma. They forced Griffin out of the paint on that ball reversal, which puts Amani going against someone small. So you see her right there going against the backside forward, which is 6'1". So on that ball reversal, forced Griffin out to the corner, and Amani's one-on-one with a smaller forward.
So Imani McGee-Stafford working with 3 fouls in the ball game. Her blockmate, Nell, blockmate Nneka, not Nell Fortner, but Nneka and Impali walking back onto the court, especially with these two. So McGee-Stafford gets one of them. The lead for Oklahoma is 4, and the defense for Texas is coming. Here is a 2-on-1 situation, and the leader goes down for Crystal Henderson.
Really nice, strong finish by Crystal Henderson. She's going to the hole. She knows she's going to score. Griffin really makes a poor defensive play right there for Oklahoma, giving Crystal the opportunity for the and one. Right now, Texas really showing great presence on the floor, Fran, much different than what we saw in the first half.
Crystal Henderson misses it, but Texas with the offensive rebound and an opportunity here to tie this game or take the lead. 46-44. 10-14 remaining in the ball game. Davenport to the hole, stop and pop, and has it rejected. And we saw Nneka and Impali come back onto the court. And Kaylee Hartong's got a report.
Grand Texas trainer Lisa Stallings telling me, we're going to try to see if she can go. Now, she didn't tell me how they worked her out in the training room, but she said she did okay.
Brady Sanders blows the layup for Texas, gets her own rebound and tries to go up. That's a nice save for Brady Sanders.
Well, and you said it right, Fran. It was a save because that was a wide open layup she missed, but she stayed in the play, kept that hustle alive, and kept the ball alive, and she gets herself to the free throw line.
Brady Sanders is an excellent free throw shooter for Texas. And of course, on cue, misses it. She's a 75% free throw shooter.
Well, you've got to give her big credit for just staying in the play, because you know that affects you. You missed the layup, but she stayed in the play, got it back, and got herself at least a point at the free throw line.
OU has been called here. Last field goal at the 14:24 mark. Look for Ellenberg to try to create something from beyond the arc. A long rebound for the Sooners. Against McGee-Stafford, and she's going to be called for a foul.
Well, and that's her 4th foul, Fran, and that's not good for Texas, but that was an aggressive play by Amani, trying to keep Hook from scoring. But you got to look at this Oklahoma team. They're struggling right now. Ellenberg's only scored 2 points this half, and after scoring the bulk of the points in the first half, that puts a strain on the other offensive players that have to step up and score.
I like how Oklahoma continues to take it into Texas inside, because I don't know that I would have driven in there against 6'7".
Well, it was probably maybe designed to do that, because Amani did have 3 fouls, so make her have to guard you, and it worked for Oklahoma. They drew her 4th foul.
Sherry Cole said they wanted to keep going to the well coming into this game. They were going to try to get Texas's inside game out of the game, and they've been effective this afternoon. They lead by 2. Davenport with 3. Nneka and Impali just out-jumps the Oklahoma defenders, and Oklahoma comes away with it. Ellenberg spots up.
She just can't find it in the second half, Fran. It's really good to see Nneka being aggressive on the offensive boards, feeling pretty good about her legs, and so that's got to be a good thing for Texas. But Ellenberg's got to find that target for Oklahoma. Because it's not only for her own self, it gives her teammates confidence in their own shots.
The foul was on Williams for Oklahoma. That's her 4th personal as Magionite getting some good minutes for Texas, cuts its lead to 1.
Well, you knew in the first half Texas was going to come back in the second half. It was just a bit of a slow start, maybe nerves, who knows, but definitely a much different Texas team this half.
The free throws for Texas haunting them this afternoon. Just a wide open by Williams down low, and then almost a turnover. 19 on the shot clock.
Really nice defense by Gigi, not giving her that clear path to the basket right there.
Give and go action, hands off for Oklahoma, and Texas basketball.
Again, good defense by Texas. They're so much more aggressive in this half. And OU trying to work the ball inside, taking it inside to Kaylin Williams, big body, but it's just not being very effective with it.
Has Texas done anything differently offensively, you thought, in the last few minutes?
They just turned the volume up on their defense, their aggressiveness, their intensity.
9 on the shot clock, and Karen Aston wants to talk about it.
You know, she didn't like what she saw offensively. I think it's an excellent timeout at this point in the game. You're down 1. You don't want anything to slip by you.
Texas keeping this one close. They trail by 1 to the Sooners. Come on back to the Erwin Center.
I am a basketball fan. I love watching basketball. So if I'm not at the game tonight, I'm somewhere where I want to see a basketball game.
We'll enjoy this one. Thank you, Coach.
All righty. Thank you.
That, of course, was the new head coach for the football team, Charlie Strong, who came over from Louisville. He's catching a very good basketball game here in Big 12 action with the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners.
Well, I would imagine he is a basketball fan because Louisville men's basketball is pretty good.
And women.
And women,
both in the Final Four last year.
Right.
Ellenberg off the dribble. Crystal Henderson with the foul. Boy, you got to love having a player like Ellenberg who, when the shot clock winds down, you know you can put the ball in their hands.
Well, she's just such a great creator. It's very difficult to stop her one-on-one with drives to the basket. You got to bring help over to get the ball out of her hands.
She is an 81% free throw shooter. She knocks down the first and gives OU a 2-point lead. Lots of time here in this ball game.
Just her 4th point in the second half.
And a call on the floor by the official gives Nneka and Impali her 3rd personal. And the Oklahoma Sooner bench erupted on that call. So Oklahoma with a 3-point lead here. Ellenberg with those 2 points off the free throw, but keep in mind she only had a field goal before that. Now she can explode for some points, and she does.
Well, you called that one right on cue. You know, this is going to be a real telling time for Nneka and Impali. She's got 3 fouls. She needs to stay in the game. This is where you grow up and make sure you play as smart as you can to give your team the best chance of winning.
They are forcing Texas to beat them from the outside. Is Oklahoma. Magionite takes it and knocks it down. Ball reversal for Texas.
Well, that was exactly what Karen Aston needed out of Magionite. She can really spread a defense with that 3-point shooting. That's Texas's first 3-point shot make of the day.
To kick ball, the ball will remain with Oklahoma.
So a kick ball for Texas, but the ball reversal here made this happen for the Horns.
Well, that's what has to happen. You've got to get that ball to the weak side. Take advantage of your shooters in the corners.
Ellenberg with another bucket. She's got their last 6 points, and she is heating up now.
Well, it's like she's just raising her game. She's a senior. She's been here before in this position probably many times. And she's like, okay, I'm ready to hit some buckets now. They
are defending Nneka and Impali and they're going to call a double foul on the floor.
Well, again, that's the tough thing about this call and about Nneka picking up when she got the third foul, playing as smart as you can to not get that fourth foul. And you know, the one thing that teams do, and I just know this from coaching, you can be aggressive with Nneka. If you've got some post players, you can just keep sitting on the floor. Hey, try to help her get her fourth foul.
That's right.
You know, because Nneka, again, that high motor, she's going to compete hard.
So the perimeter shot is off, but they hustle it, and then they get it to go down with the hustle by Oklahoma. Just took the ball right from Texas.
Well, it was a great hustle play by Oklahoma right here, and some of that experience is shining through for the Sooners.
Critical play there, though. The double foul on the floor certainly hurts Oklahoma, but hurts Texas much more.
Well, it definitely hurts Texas more because Nneka needs to be on the floor to compete. But again, it goes back to her keeping her composure and not succumbing to undue pressure by Oklahoma or players wanting to get you rattled. You have to really keep your head.
You got to know the scouting report, Nell. I'm sure you can attest when you're coaching, you know players' tendencies, and you tell your players, here's what you do for this player.
That's right. And if it's bump her a little more, push her a little harder, she'll push back.
Yep.
I mean, it's just all part of the game. But a bigger part of that game is players understanding that, hey, I am that kind of player. I'm an active high motor player. I've got to keep my composure.
Karen Aston not taking any chances right now with 6:05 remaining in the game. She puts Imani McGee-Stafford in the game for Nneka and Impali. McGee-Stafford also has 4 fouls. A little baby hook, but the rebound by Davenport, it stays Texas basketball.
What a great rebound by Empress Davenport to get in there on the offensive boards. You know, she's quick, she's got the speed and the hops to really help Texas from that guard position on the boards. I like the turnaround jumper by Imani. It just didn't have enough on it right there, but good job of Davenport to follow.
Davenport gets the first one, cuts his lead to 5 for Texas.
And you know, Fran, going against the zone defense of Oklahoma, it gives Texas some lanes to go attack the offensive glass. It's tough to box out in the zone.
5:53 remaining. Oklahoma leads by 4. Ellenberg has started to heat up for the Sooners. And she is being guarded by Davenport. Oklahoma tries to go inside, and Texas tries to get it going in transition. Crystal Henderson has run the show mostly for Texas with Rodrigo on the bench here in the second half. McGee-Stafford off glass. Gets it to go down.
Really nice patience with that turnaround jump shot and a good call to go off the glass. She's being contested hard, but she is, again, 6'7", long arms. Keeps that ball nice and high. You know, Texas is going to have to be really careful of Morgan Hook heating up. She had 26 points in overtime against Iowa State in their overtime loss in their last Big 12 game. So she could heat up at any minute too, Fran.
And Oklahoma is going to go at the inside game with McGee-Stafford with 4, as does Williams have 4, and Texas turns it over. Got to get a hand up on Ellenberg for sure. She will elevate and shoot from anywhere on the floor.
It's a little bit of a shot changer. That's what Imani can do so well. She doesn't have to block it, just change it. Nice drive by Crystal Henderson.
Crystal Henderson read the lane, took it to the hole. Texas down by 2. Sherry Cole wants a timeout.
You know, these games, all these Big 12 games, they're going to go down to the wire like this. And so every possession matters. Sherry Cole calls a timeout, wants to get her team back on track. Texas down 2. Well, Aaryn Ellenberg from the Oklahoma Sooners, she has 30 points right now, and she gets them from a variety of ways. Pull-up jumper from the 3 in transition. She can cut you back door, move so well without the basketball. But right here in transition, you'll see her right here. She's going to take that ball to the hole. She just has nice moves. Let me do a little crossover, a little hesitation for the layup right there. She's showing us why she's a two-time All-Big 12 player.
Ellenberg going to work as she does, and Texas bailing out again on the show on the screen. Ellenberg.
Well, this is where she can really do a lot of damage is now is at the free throw line, because if she gets matched up with Brady Sanders on her, she's going to take her to the hole every time. And they're switching on defense right here to try to mix it up on her. But you know that she's going to have the ball in her hand, Fran, a lot for the rest of the game.
She goes to work, knocks down both of those, lifting the Sooners to a 4-point lead with 3:50 remaining in play. Gigi Maggionete with the three-pointer for Texas.
Well, Gigi really coming through from that three-point line against this 2-3 zone of Oklahoma. Sherry's going to have to get out of that. You can't give up those corner shots like that.
Hook in trouble. 12 on the shot clock, and of course they look to get it to Ellenberg. A long three, and she got it.
Well, that play defensively for Texas, you saw they were going to switch, but you can't go behind the screen. Ellenberg perfectly read that, chose to refuse the screen, and gets a wide open three.
Ellenberg now with 35 points for Oklahoma. That's twice her average plus 3.
She just scored about 5 points in about 10 seconds. 2 at the free throw line, then comes down and knocks down a 3. So she can score in buckets, and that's what's so dangerous about her. Why you've got to have somebody to keep the ball out of her hands as best you can.
What do you do with her?
Face guard her, keep it out of her hands, and then when she puts it on the floor, run somebody else at her to make her give the ball up.
Her old career high was 34. She has busted that wide open here in Austin with 35 for the Sooners, and Oklahoma with the 4-point lead.
Now Oklahoma's showing that 1-3-1, so they're mixing up their defenses to just keep Texas a little bit off balance offensively.
Maggionete's dribble drive, no good. Looked like a good look for Gigi.
Just a little short.
Oklahoma will go back to the free throw line. Go ahead now.
Yeah, and that's the tough part is you miss the shot, but boy, don't give up that foul and put them at that free throw line.
Just giving them points now. And Oklahoma, the junior from Spencer, Oklahoma, is an 86% free throw shooter. Is Campbell.
You know, Fran, I think both of these coaches, Karen Aston, Sherry Cole, just have done a phenomenal job coaching and adjusting and making, doing things to give their team the best shot of winning. Not easy to come in here on the road if you're Oklahoma and sneak out a win.
It's 1-3-1. Nneka and Polly tries to get it to go through, and she does. Avoided the charge.
Boy, she's playing with all her might right now. You can tell she's in a little bit of pain, but she's such a competitor.
63-60 for the Sooners, who are playing a little high-low action. Davenport tries to go against Ellenberg, but man, she can flat out get past the defense. And now Griffin will be signaled for her personal. She will actually leave the ball game, does Griffin, with 5 fouls. There's some battling down low between both teams. Williams will come into the game for Griffin. The senior from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, leaves the game with 8 points.
Well, that definitely opens up a little bit of space inside for Texas without 6'6" Nicole Griffin patrolling that paint.
Now, if you're Texas, do you bring in your big baby and Imani McGee Stafford?
I would imagine we're going to see her at some point But with Gigi shooting the ball the way she is right now, you've got to see if she can continue doing that, especially with OU playing a zone.
Texas cuts this lead to 1, 2:13 remaining. Big 12 women's basketball at its best today. Oklahoma controlled most of it as they do on that last play.
Well, just a beautifully executed play right there by Oklahoma to get Kaylin Williams the easy layup inside. That's too easy.
So they will not let Ellenberg touch the basketball. 15 on the shot clock. Texas now a lot of perimeter motion. Brady Sanders tries to go to the hole with her left and will be called for a charge.
Well, the tough thing about that play is, you know, coming off, if you're going to create, then that needs to be Crystal Henderson creating, or Empress even creating, and Brady spotting up on the perimeter. You know, every possession matters, every dribble, you know, pass, and it's when it gets down to this time, you've got to have that ball in the right person's hands as that shot clock's running down.
So we're not really sure what's happening on the floor right now. The clock is having some issues with the clock. And the official picked up on it and stopped play. But now, right now, defensively for Texas, as we kind of let that get recalibrated, defensively for Texas, what do they need to do?
Well, you've got to try to keep the ball out of Ellenberg's hands because you know she's going to take shot. You know, she's going to take the shot. Got to be ready to switch on her, but the tough thing is keep the ball out of her hands as best you can. Don't let her make a play with the ball.
1:20 remaining, 17 on the shot clock. Hook looks to create. Almost a turnover by Oklahoma, but they remain calm as Ellenberg comes to the ball. And there goes the officials with the implementing the new rules and the touches and really protecting the offensive player.
Well, that absolutely, and that's exactly what we saw. But the bigger issue is you knew that she was going to get that ball, so you've got to do all you can to keep the ball out of her hands. Force her into some help defense to make her give the ball up.
Ellenberg now with 37 points on the afternoon. And now Texas has to create something quickly offensively. And it remains Texas basketball.
Well, NECA did a good job of sending that ball off the back of the Oklahoma Sooner player to keep possession.
Henderson has to take it and gets it, calls it off glass. Texas down by 2 with 55 seconds remaining.
Well, there might not be a bigger shot that Crystal Henderson has hit this year so far than that one right there. I'm not sure if she caught glass, but it's going to count.
So Texas on the inbound. Henderson is known to light it up, and here did not hesitate. Gets it to go down for Texas. What happens here defensively for Texas as Oklahoma tries to go the full distance?
Well, I think we'll see Texas trying to really keep the ball out of Ellenberg's hands and then force her, if she gets it, force her into that help defense. And don't foul her. You just can't put her to the line. You got to make her earn her baskets, you know, honestly.
Ellenberg has the last 15 of Oklahoma's last 20 points.
So that's why the ball's going to be in her hands. But again, you can't, you know, the hard part is, again, a Morgan Hook who had the 26 points in their last Big 12 game. You know she's capable of stepping up and hitting big baskets, so you've got to know where she is at all times. But you don't need to foul here. You just have to play good, solid defense.
So almost a turnover. Ellenberg goes right to the hole, and NECA and Impali will take her 5th personal, protecting the basket for Texas. But you were right, Nell. Ellenberg was the creator of all of that for Oklahoma?
Well, you know, Texas almost created the turnover, but Ellenberg comes up with the ball and gets it inside. And, you know, Nneka, unfortunate for the foul, but again, she didn't give up an easy basket. She's going to have to come out of the game, but they're going to make Oklahoma earn it at the free throw line. And you still have plenty of time to come down, score, you know, and still maybe not even have to foul to get the ball back. So it's coming down to some really good time and score strategy right here to finish this game out.
Well, we know that 46 ticks is a long time in most sports. We've seen it in football, and we've certainly seen it in basketball.
Well, and when you have guards that can get the ball at the floor as quick as Crystal Henderson can, and you can score quickly, then it really adds, you know, the length to the game and gives you a better opportunity to score.
So Williams, who also has 4 fouls, makes the second one for Oklahoma, and now it's a 3-point ball game. Texas with the opportunity to tie here. Magionite with a big shot for Texas. She knocks it down, and the fans in the Aaryn Center go bananas.
Well, that's why she's in the game, is to hit that 3-point shot in the corner. Oklahoma has yet to figure out how to guard her in the corner in their zone defense.
Karen Aston had been waiting for Gigi Magionite. My partner, Nell Fortner, has been talking about Gigi Magionite needing to heat up, and here was the perfect time.
Well, there's not a bigger time than right now. That's, I think, her third three against this Oklahoma defense, and she has plenty of time to size it up. So I know that that's something Sherry Cole's probably going to be talking about. You better know where number 23 is.
And the entire Texas bench out to the court to give Gigi Magionite some love. Now let's bring it back to the court, and let's say Texas has had practically zero effectiveness at stopping Ellenberg. You know, you're telling the audience that this is where the basketball is going. What can they do differently to stop her?
Well, you can double team her right now on this inbounds pass, you know, making sure that anybody else touches the ball but Ellenberg. You could possibly just double team her all the way down the floor, but then you gotta get matched up with everybody. But I know I've said this repetitively, you just gotta keep the ball out of her hands, and if she puts it on the floor, if she has it, you've got to run her into some help defense and make somebody else, anybody else, hit the big shot.
We know that Oklahoma is a capable team. They've got some seniors on the team besides Ellenberg. They've got capable shooters in Hook. Carter can take the ball to the hole. Campbell can take the ball to the hole. And, of course, Williams, even though she has 4 fouls for Oklahoma, is very effective on the block. This is an experienced Oklahoma Sooners team.
Well, and they just need to get the ball inside. You're not looking for a three. You got to get the ball inside or get to the free throw line. There's no pressure right here. No forced shot. Take the highest percentage shot.
Empress Davenport in a full face guard of Ellenberg, trying not to let her have the basketball. Texas on guard to help Ellenberg, who falls, and Texas picks up the ball, and Henderson with the left, and she's going to be hammered in the open court by Carter. 7 seconds remaining. Crystal Henderson will shoot the basketball.
Well, it was an unbelievably great defensive play by Texas right here. Crystal goes up hard. The block, and Fran, it looked like a clean block. I know as a coach, you want the call. There's no question, but it looks like Oklahoma got on top of the ball, and now Texas has an opportunity with an underneath out of bounds play, which they're really good at running their underneath out of bounds plays to win the game.
So Crystal Henderson was shooting the basketball, got it blocked. It will be Texas basketball, no free throws, an opportunity for Texas to execute in an inbound situation.
But, Fran, let's go back and talk about the defense, because that was phenomenal defense on Texas's part. Ellenberg put her head down to go to the hole, and there was no driving lane whatsoever. So the message was sent from Texas coaching staff, you've got to shut down the driving lane on Ellenberg.
You got to lock it down. That was probably the first time we saw that this afternoon.
I think you're right. She's pretty much had her way against this Texas defense.
Ellenberg with 37 points. There's a reason she's on the all-watch list for everything in the conference, everything in the country. Just a phenomenal offensive player for Oklahoma.
Execution is so important right now, Fran, in this underneath out-of-bounds play. The screens have to be set hard. Look for Imani Stafford to roll back to the basket, because just a little nice touch pass over the top to your 6'7" post player.
Henderson trying to get it inside. We'll take a little pick and roll with Imani Stafford. She pulls up and hits it, and it comes out for Texas, and we're going to overtime, folks, as Crystal Henderson is robbed of the basket.
Well, I'm not sure if you could have gotten the ball in the hole anymore, and it comes out. But again, she takes an uncontested shot. The ball goes in and just comes out. And now we go to overtime.
We're going to step aside as Big 12 women's basketball gives everybody in the Erwin Center all they can handle. Texas, Oklahoma, overtime when we return.
Ball's hit the right, it's carrying, and head ball's out of here with the solo home run. And a throwdown! Tucker's kick is up. Justin's kick is good! It's good!
Hope you grabbed your popcorn, folks, for Big 12 women's basketball. Oklahoma, Texas, and Austin knotted up at 68. Crystal Henderson with an opportunity to win the game for Texas. It went in, it came out, and to overtime we go.
Well, great composure on Texas's part for the defensive stop, because Oklahoma had plenty of time to run a play in the last 30 seconds of the game. They got the turnover, created a turnover from Ellenberg, and put themselves in a position to have a chance to win the game. And now we head to overtime.
So the 5 on the floor for Texas has been the 5 on the floor for Texas for a while. Nneka and Impali, just to give you a little backstory, did foul out in this ball game. Imani Stafford has 4 fouls for Texas. He's playing with 4 fouls. Williams for Oklahoma is playing with 4 fouls. And Impali left the game after having a rough afternoon. And now we head to 5 minutes of overtime. We will jump it up per the rules in overtime.
Well, you've got Nneka out of the game. You've got Nicole Griffin out of the game for Oklahoma. You've got some players with some foul problems. It's been an interesting 5 minutes.
Imani Stafford with a little drop step, too soft.
It's a good shot, Fran. Just needs a little bit more on it. She needs to follow her shot.
Look for Oklahoma to go inside to Williams, who is guarded by Stafford, who's playing pretty aggressively down there despite the 4 fouls. Campbell gets it to the playmaker, Ellenberg, who will step it up. And the roll goes for Oklahoma.
Fran, how about 2 back-to-back Big 12 overtime games from Oklahoma? They lost to Iowa State in their last game, and now they're in their 2nd overtime game in this young Big 12 season.
There are no nights off in this conference. Today's game proving that again. Oklahoma looking for its 2nd win in 3 games for the conference play. Imani Stafford tries to go up, and she's going to be signaled for a travel.
Well, it was good, strong defense by Oklahoma's Sherane Campbell right there, not to foul her. And Imani's got to play really tough inside and go at somebody. Draw that foul.
And they will bring Stafford out. Empress Davenport is going to be signaled for a personal. And Oklahoma sticking with what's worked this afternoon.
Well, Ellenberg, she does a really good job of not taking a screen, like refusing the screen and going the other direction. She draws a foul on Davenport right there, gets herself to the free throw line. Smart, she's a smart player.
The 81% free throw shooter misses. A rare miss for Ellenberg. And a lucky break for Texas. second free throw also off the mark for Ellenberg.
Very rare misses for Ellenberg. Oklahoma now back into a man defense.
Davenport goes to the hole on the floor.
Oklahoma foul, charge number 10.
So Davenport recognizing the opportunity from a quickness standpoint to go to the basket, and she will shoot 2 for Texas.
Well, and this might be what we see throughout this overtime period, is both teams recognizing that our best opportunities to score might come from the free throw line. If you can't guard me off dribble penetration, then let's keep putting our head down and getting to the free throw line.
Davenport ties it up at 70. 3:27 remaining. Oklahoma looking to take the ball to the hole at all times.
You know, Fran, let's don't forget, Oklahoma was picked by the coaches in the Big 12 to win the Big 12 this year. They're 1-1 in the conference, just like Texas is right now. And it's just like you said, every game in this conference is tough. So there's a little bit of pressure on Oklahoma, you know.
A little bit, yep.
Especially coming off the loss, you know.
Coming into Texas where the rivalry is always thick. A little give and go by Hook, a little dish down, but the miss, but oh, the nice rebound by Williams, and Texas tries to come away with it. Davenport with an aggressive rebound, and the Horns with an opportunity to take the lead in overtime.
Well, you see that Texas playing with a little bit of swag in this overtime. They're very confident and really doing exactly what they need to do on the boards.
Gigi will give and go with Lang. Little pick and roll, and the freshman hits a big bucket for the Horns.
Just great patience by Texas.
That would have been a huge, huge bucket by Ellenberg. Crystal Henderson wisely holding it up for Texas.
Really good play by Henderson not to throw it. Brady Sanders wanted it down the sideline in transition. They called the 10-second, the backcourt violation, and that's that rule has just been implemented this year, Fran. We don't see it called very much, but it goes by the shot clock, so they know exactly when that 10 seconds is up.
Big turnover for Texas. Big rebound for Kelsey Lang. And Texas now with the ball and the chance on offense to take a 4-point lead.
You know, again, Morgan Hook just not being able to get on track for Oklahoma today as she normally does.
6 on the shot clock. Here's where Texas has broken down all afternoon. Davenport rises up, gets her own rebound, and then loses it. Texas with an offensive opportunity, and now Oklahoma with another opportunity themselves.
Well, not only an offensive opportunity, just you've got to have that composure to get the ball back out. You've got a new 30-second shot clock with a minute and a half left in the game, and you've got to be able to take advantage of that.
1:29 remaining. Oklahoma's Hook running it for the Sooners. And look at Oklahoma go to the basket. Nobody underneath as Williams receives that one. Tied again.
Well, that was a really excellent play by Oklahoma. Didn't have that backside drop down by Texas to help cover up that post player, Kaylin Williams.
Kelsey Lang with the little baby hook doesn't go down. One of the few times Texas had single coverage. Brady Sanders tracks it down, and it's going to be a foul. A very risky play by Texas in the open court. This started by Brady Sanders, and then Davenport pass not great at all to Brady Sanders.
Well, Texas got really lucky on that
Very
one,
lucky.
because that was a potential turnover right here. But
here's where the experience or the inexperience will show for a ball club.
Well, you're exactly right, and Texas really wanting, you can tell they want the ball game so bad. They're trying everything they can to win it, but you've got composure becomes so important in that trying to win it.
And you see it with Oklahoma. You see them being a little bit more composed than Texas. They've been in tougher games.
But the long pass down the floor to Ellenberg was not necessarily the best pass because it did lead to a turnover.
Sanders hits them both. Texas with a 2-point lead, 52.4 remaining. And if you're just tuning in, you're catching a great ball game between Texas and Oklahoma. Big 12 women's basketball, our overtime has been worth the price of admission alone.
Well, you're exactly right. I'm not sure you could say it better, but Brady Sanderson, just a great hustle play right there to get the deflection. Ball goes out of bounds, but Oklahoma forced to call the timeout to size things up.
Well, let's set the scene here. Oklahoma came out guns blazing. They were hot, took a huge lead. Texas down by double digits. Halftime happened, and then Texas did what now?
Well, they came out just much more focused and played better defense and just really just had, I think, just more, I keep saying the word composure, but just better offensive rhythm. You have Nneka and Imani back on the floor for a little longer period of time. Gives their team great confidence. But right now, really, Ellenberg not being able to get on track early in the first half. Let Texas get, allow Texas back in the game.
Ellenberg with 37 points. Sherry Cole, you've known her for a long time. You've watched these teams play. What is she drawing up now with this 2-point deficit in the ball game?
Well, you've got to score and with a high percentage shot. You can't afford really to take a three unless it's the last thing on the table. That ball's got to go inside. You either score with the layup or you're getting to the free throw line. You really can't afford to take anything else other than those shots.
Well, I'll tell you, I can't take another double overtime game. I did a game last night, SMU and Memphis in Dallas, and I'm not lobbying for another double overtime. I don't think my heart can take it. You can have it. Well, you can call the game by yourself if that happens.
No, Fran, I couldn't call it without you. But this is Oklahoma right now has a great opportunity to set up a nice play. They got 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Plenty of time to run a play. Texas's defense, will they come out and show us something maybe different? Whether it's a trap off of an on-ball screen, if that's so, or what will they do to make sure Ellenberg isn't the one that hurts them?
Well, you got a couple of things to look for with Oklahoma. You can go down low to Williams, who has pretty much been unstoppable. Either she's gotten a clean look or she's scored every time. Imani McGee-Stafford is not in the ball game for Texas. Kelsey Lang in the ball game for Texas. Do you go at her, a relatively inexperienced big, or do you let Ellenberg do what she does?
Kelsey Lang, she can block shots. I wouldn't go right at Kelsey Lang, no. I'd get her away from the basket if I could. Send somebody else in there.
20 on the shot clock. Oklahoma gets it in, and Hook tries to go to the hole against Henderson. Ellenberg, 10 on the shot clock. Stop, pop, in and out. And taken right away by Carter. Well, I'll tell you what, Texas lucky again on that play.
What is so good about Texas right now is in this overtime, they have not given up the dribble lanes to Oklahoma. They have absolutely shut those down. So it's forcing Oklahoma into pull-up jumpers and less than high percentage shots. Now you would think any shot Ellenberg takes would be a high percentage shot because she's shooting the ball so well today, but that one just didn't drop.
Kelsey Lang, a 76% free throw shooter. The freshman from the Woodlands with a big rebound on one end. Big free throw so far, gives Texas a 3-point lead. Misses a second one. And now Oklahoma with the chance to tie.
Well, it gives Oklahoma breathing room, but you know they've got to have a three unless they go for a quick two and a foul.
You give Ellenberg no room. She misses that. And then Texas with the rebound. And Crystal Henderson will hold on to this one and go to the free throw line. Karen Aston squatting and applauding right now for this Texas team with an opportunity for a big win.
Well, she's got to be extremely proud of her team right here. Great defense right here on Ellenberg. A play set up to give her that three and just didn't have enough on it right there, Fran. But then you've got to secure the rebound, and Texas does that and gets themselves to the free throw line.
Crystal Henderson with the opportunity to make it a two-possession game, and does. Texas now 76-72. Still plenty of time. This game is not over.
Well, it's not over, absolutely. And this is where the defense, you've got to play smart defense right here. Don't give up anything quick and easy.
Can't let them get straight to the hole. Texas does, and they're going to be fouled. You look at this and you say 2 seconds, what can possibly happen? We've been around this game a long time. Still an opportunity for Oklahoma to win this ball game.
Well, Fran, we saw Morgan Hook hit the three at the half court mark to go into halftime. So you bet the game's never over when you can, the possibility lies there. But she nails this free throw right here, and that seals the win.
So Henderson with two gets the first one. That pretty much does it.
Two-possession game with 2 seconds left.
Karen Aston takes her players off the free throw line, telling them not to foul anybody, nothing freaky to happen here. And Texas just watches. Empress Davenport blocks a shot, but Karen Aston is looking like, I'm not so sure that's what we wanted in that situation. Maturity and experience.
Right, but Fran, this is the biggest win of Texas's season so far. I know they beat A&M, that's a huge win, but we're talking Big 12 Conference. You've been picked 5th. You just beat the team that was picked to win the conference. This is a huge win for the Texas Longhorns.
Well, the Oklahoma Sooners came in, as I mentioned, shooting very well. Ellenberg finished the game with 37 points, but it was the Longhorns